fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades to the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best, especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors, protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, KUAW Wilson, and now here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Wave Your Grades. Our producer, engineer, and co-host, announcer KUAW Wilson. In her introduction, each week she indicates that I am indeed civilian educator Carl Boyd. Our program, Wave Your Grades, asks American students to strive for excellence in honor of our troops, and we invite those who have served and even those who are currently serving in the military to be honored not only by the program but by the young people we feature on Wave Your Grades. I want to emphasize the fact that I am a civilian because not only am I a civilian with 3 older brothers who are responsible for my being the first to graduate from college in my family, and I owe them, and I feel that I can call upon that as I ask our young people about owing those who have served for giving them the opportunity to strive for excellence, and indeed striving for excellence, so that when there are occasions not only for my being host and being a civilian, I get an opportunity to interview civilians, we are at least in agreement that those who have served deserve the honor that we offer. So I am anticipating a very special guest this afternoon, and we are going to talk about things that are going on in our community. And we have not had this opportunity, so I am so looking forward to it, not only for the person who will be here in person, but also for those she represents. And as we go into the program, you'll find out why I am saying that. This gives an opportunity, this is how God works, to offer a greeting on the Saturday before Easter for our worshiping weekend that is worshiping the resurrection of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and to say to all of those places, all of those churches, all of those individuals and organizations, again, who are celebrating this weekend, which is Resurrection Weekend. Thank you for your celebrations, and I encourage all of those who are with us to find ways that you too can be a part of those celebrations, observing those. And it's interesting since the pandemic, because more than ever and increasingly, there are those who are using the technology, social media. They are joining in various ways. So I would suggest to you that if you are not able to get out, if there is some reason that you might be in, you can still celebrate through the technology. So that is our encouragement for this day. And we will again enjoy a program that has an even different kind of celebration, but complementary to our own as we go into Wave Your Grades. And as a matter of fact, as we wait, let me take advantage of this opportunity to emphasize why we refer to the program as Wave Your Grades. We are actually talking to students in the United States of America, and if it so happens, I just talked about technology, that it is beyond America. That's okay too. And as you smile, DeQuay Wilson will actually remember that we had a local musical group, and they came to the studio, Louis George Walker, and performed, but we had a response from Korea. And so it is, as I say, that those of you who are listening, we ask students in the United States of America, but sometimes there are indeed military personnel who are deployed outside of the United States of America. They have children. We're talking to them if they are in school. And now back to the point that I was attempting to make. Wave Your Grades suggests that you go beyond waving the flag. And sometimes there are two things. Wow, hadn't thought of this until just now. We had someone on the program who was talking about the fact that there are veterans who appreciate your thank you. Thank you for your service. But there are instances when, I don't want to use the term not adequate, but it does not suggest to them the depth with which we offer an appreciation. So most, and I would suspect in the 80s or 90 percentile, appreciate anyone saying thank you for your service, but we try to go beyond that. In that context, that we want to go beyond saying thank you for your service, we want students to go beyond waving the flag. So we say not just wave the flag, but wave your grades, wave your community service, wave your leadership, wave your cooperative learning. And we have been blessed on this program to meet young people who are doing all kinds of good things. And I must say, if I am being honest, the most frequent visitation that we have of students who are engaged in various ways come through Attorney Valencia Broaddus and the Smart Club. And they are not always talking about things military. They are not always talking about things that are academic subject-wise, but they're talking about application of what they are learning. So if we were to say, well, how about practical skills, even things like culinary arts? Valencia Broadus can actually give us examples of where her group was cooking for the gathering that they were sponsoring. If we talk about financial literacy, she will introduce us to young people who are not only engaged in just an event, but really have some knowledge about it. And I could go on. So that, indeed, we are asking, wave a lot more than the flag. Now, not only that, in the break that you will have as we go along, and prayerfully all is well with our guest, and we are waiting for a guest. But one of the things that will be emphasized, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to say it myself. I'm going to ask DeQuay Wilson to say it. One of the things is about writing. What's that about? We ask young people to participate.
Yes, sir. We ask our youth, our students, to write about a hero that they know that they didn't know were heroes. It can be a veteran who serves in their school. It can be absolutely anyone, but we want to highlight those heroes that you don't know necessarily are heroes. Talk about their contribution, whether it be to themselves, whether it be to the school, whether it be to their community, but their contributions as a whole.
And I'll tell you something that is interesting. Every once in a while, we will meet someone or discover that someone whom we already know is indeed that kind of hero. And I say this sincerely. I am allowed to write a column for the Next Page KC. That's Eric Wesson. He was with the KUAW paper for a long time. Now he has the Next Page KC. And I was discussing this very thing with Eric Wesson. It turns out that he was in the Marines. He never talks about that. I didn't realize that. So when you talk about heroes you didn't know were heroes. I found out that his mom was a woman Marine. She was certainly a hero, and she passed on just recently, but he never mentioned that on the radio that I know. But oftentimes when we're talking to someone casually, we find out that indeed there are heroes we know we didn't know were heroes. So not only are we asking the young people, and by the way, there is a monetary reward for the submission of such an essay, but it's not just about the essay. The essay compels them to do some research about that person. So they're going to find out not just that they were deployed, not just that they were veterans, but in some cases, indeed actual heroes. Did something not only meritorious, but perhaps saved someone's life. And being a civilian, I can say this comfortably, that there are so many who are a great deal more heroic after service than when they were in service, because much of what they experienced, this is not just Carl Boyd talking, but some of the information that we have gotten from our guests, that there were things that were not comfortable for them, so that it took being now, after being deployed, being discharged, the ability to talk about it comfortably now, more so than when they were deployed. Brother Louis George Walker, in as much as we are waiting for a very special guest, this might be a good time to help our listeners to know how they can access not just this program, but access what KUAW.org is all about. And we so appreciate Louis George Walker because not only the founder of KUAW, but the engineer, the putting it together. You know what? As a matter of fact, if by the time you finish this announcement, our guest is not here, I have a question to ask you about not just the station, but the mechanics. But first,
Well, that'll be fine.
your announcement.
All right, all right. Hey, welcome to Wave Your Grades, and this is Kansas City's global community radio station, KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. You're listening to us. If you're watching us live, we're on Facebook or YouTube right now. And tell your friends about it. Like and share our YouTube page, which is KUAW Space Radio. You can also pick us up online on Get Me Radio, on the online radio bot, on My Tuner, and on the TuneIn app. So if you go to any of those apps, you can get our audio line and pick up what we're doing right here on KUAW. You can also pick us up if you have a smart speaker. If you have a smart speaker like a Google or Amazon, or you got Siri, tell it to play KUAW radio and you'll come in right on that. So there's a lot of ways to get us. You can also get us locally. If you're in the 18th and Vine area or within 3 miles of it, you can pick us up on KOJH. KOJH is our 100.5 FM. Is a low-powered FM radio station that we're glad to be a partner with. So there's a lot of ways to listen to KUAW. So just go to Google or to your Bing or whatever search engine you use and type in KUAW radio, and you'll see all the ways that you can pick us up. So we're glad that you're listening to us today, and we're going to continue to try and broadcast some of the news, some of the latest information that we can right here from Kansas City's own studio of KUAW radio. So, Carl, I'll hand this back to you.
All right. Now, this is what I was interested in.
Okay.
You and I, you're younger than I, but not enough younger to be in a different generation. We're pretty much in the same generation.
Yeah, just had a birthday.
You just had a birthday.
Yeah, Monday I turned 73.
Watch out.
Yeah.
now you're talking. I just have to say, a mere child. Only 73. And in March, I turned 83.
All right.
But in terms of just personalities and things that we enjoy, and we could talk for days about music.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
if someone suggested to me that I might want to do a radio station, and actually a station, first thing I think about is jazz or R&B, music, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Now, here I am with the honor, with the privilege of doing a talk show on KUAW.org, but I have the blessing to be talking to the founder.
Oh, yes.
And before you established, what did you have in mind as it relates to an actual station?
Well, as a station, I had two things in mind. One, being of another generation, I think about music in the R&B vein,
Yeah.
and I like rap. There's nothing against rap and stuff. I didn't grow up in rap, but I was thinking more in the R&B vein. I had an older brother that sang, and he sung classical and stuff. But the thing he would talk to me about, because he listened to all types of music.
Yes, sir.
He's passed away now, but we were there cleaning up his
Sorry.
house, and you could pull out
Wow.
different albums he had. He had from the classics and operas and box sets, but he
Wow.
also had jazz, and he also had some R&B. So, I mean, he listened to a lot of music because that was his life. That was his career. So I was thinking of starting a radio station, one, to have talk and information, the
Okay.
local stuff.
Okay.
We had tried to start one of these way back in the early 2000s, working with Leon Dixon.
Yes.
And I didn't get it done, but then we were able to get done. Leon happened to be on a plane with a guy that told him how to get things started, and he came back and told me again. So 10 years after we had tried and
That's
didn't make it,
outstanding.
then we got it together and stuff. So, sometimes things take a little more time.
Right.
But along with the news and keeping people conscious of what's going on in the community and to help our people, we also wanted to provide some entertainment.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
thought about the jazz. We thought about the old school R&B. We even had a couple of rap shows when we started. I won't say rap. It was just some young people, a couple of DJs locally that played music. Had some ladies that came back from college and they played some music here.
Yes, sir.
So we had that. I can't pick their music and stuff. So it's like, yeah, if y'all got it and y'all want to play it, that'll work. And then I also threw in the blues because blues is an original
Yes,
art
sir.
form of the African American community. So you can hear blues, jazz, R&B, some of everything, a little bit of rap even in there. Listening to this station, that's one of the things that we're proud of, is that we've got a little bit of everything. So after this show goes off, I believe at 3 o'clock, Blues Time in the City comes on.
Yes, sir.
And that's from a brother out of Atlanta, Georgia. And he throws a good show. It's 2 hours of blues there. And then we have the Blues Hound show. So we got a lot of the blues music for all of you people that are doing all the latest blues things.
Now, Sister DeQuay, were you in the room when he mentioned that he just celebrated his 73rd birthday?
Oh my goodness, happy birthday to you.
Now,
No, I was not. Actually, I was talking to our guests. They went to the wrong location. They are on their way.
oh, wow. Okay.
She's on her way.
Okay.
All right.
I am so sorry.
It
Okay.
happens. It's a mix-up. It happens, but she's coming.
Okay. My goodness. I am so sorry for that. And I was going to.
Well, we'll stretch it out just a little bit if she has something that, she's really wanting to get across and stuff. We can extend a little bit there.
Okay. That was my fault because
Yeah.
I have asked her to do something else.
Right.
And she went to the else when I had.
Oh,
So I
just down the street. That's not far.
well, okay, if that is because I have a tape that I do in Lenexa, so she didn't go to Lenexa.
No.
Okay, I feel a little better. I feel a little better. But let me tell you what I was going to tell my brother. See, you weren't in when he said he was 73, and I call him young blood since that's right. But
Yeah.
here's something, DeQuay Wilson, with which you will not be able to identify, that Louis George Walker will identify with, and young people wouldn't know what I was talking about. In the day when we were in elementary school, we were patrol boys.
Oh, yeah.
That meant helping to direct traffic. I was a patrol boy.
I remember that. We called them safeties. I
but
was a
that's not-
safety.
But that's not what I'm challenging you. Remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a little white belt.
That's right.
I cleaned it with a toothbrush and
I
stuff.
was
That
on-
was white,
That's right. 38th and Prairie was where my, quote, post was.
All right.
And this older dude came up, and I had, now you'll never believe this, a nickel harmonica. I had a little harmonica that I would play, and it didn't cost more than a dime. I think it was about a nickel. And this older dude came up, he was laughing with somebody else, and turned around and snatched my harmonica. And when he snatched it, and I'm reaching for it, he said, did like that, like hold on a minute, and started playing. He could play the harmonica. It's just that you don't put your lips on my harmonica. So James Edwards was the other patrol boy. He and I were good friends, and I looked at James, and James was laughing. He was smiling, and he looked at me, and I said, he took my harmonica. He said, that's Muddy Waters. Now, you can identify with that.
All right.
There are millions of people who would not have any appreciation for the significance of my harmonica being played by Muddy Waters on 38th Street in Chicago.
Yeah. That's a strange thing.
So that there was an appreciation for blues. And then, of course, while you were talking about that, it occurred to me that on KUAW.org, there are also folks in clergy or something having to do with the church or those kinds of things, if they don't have such a program on KUAW.org, Brother Walker, they can submit such a program.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, we are always open for getting education or getting input from other people that would like to start doing a show. If you want to do a weekly show or a monthly show, contact KUAW. You can hit us up at 816. What is our number? 523-6983, I believe.
Now, that's 599-6893.
599-6893. Okay. I knew it was somewhere in there. I don't call the station often enough. But you can call the station, and you can also send us an email and some ideas for your show, or if you already have done some, you've got some samples of it or clips, you can email those to kuaw985@gmail.com. So if you already have a show that you're doing, you want us to hear part of it or anything like that, just email the clip to kuaw985@gmail.com. But we welcome new additions. Anybody that has a podcast or would like to be interested in starting one, we can broadcast that right from here. So get in touch with us at KUAW Radio, Kansas City, Missouri, 816-599-6893.
Now, I mentioned the musical group coming in, the young people, and how far you go, but literally from the founder, Louis George Walker, how far is your reach?
Oh, we've been reaching people, and as I say, on the FM with KOJH, we've got 3 miles from the 18th and Vine area that we're rolling out with. And then on the internet, it's worldwide. You know, you can get it anywhere. I've pulled it up in my car while we were driving out to California. And I could listen to KUAW through Arizona, parts of Arizona. Some places didn't have no kind of connection.
No.
But wherever your cell phone works, you can actually get KUAW radio. So if you can get online from your cell phone and you have a TuneIn app, or if you go to KUAW.org, there's some play buttons. You hit the play button and we'll come up on that. And just to say, we're going to be rolling out a new web page that may make it a little easier. That's going to be coming out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. They've got the page ready to show. So I'm trying to get the contact, how you get the links together and stuff. There's actually some stuff that went over my head, but I said, okay, we're going to work with it. And I called my IT guy. We're going to get it together. So in the next 2 or 3 weeks, look for a new web page for the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, which is the parent of KUAW Radio. But they'll all be included on one web page.
You know, it's very interesting when I was talking about age and I look back, and I guess when I was the age of those who are attending school now, and let's just say K through 12, if I tuned into a radio station, it was strictly to listen to the radio. It was a long time before listening to the radio became interactive. Mm-hmm. So now there came a time when you could actually call in and you could request a song or something like that. But now, when we talk about technology as being interactive, Louis George Walker, what does interactive mean in 2025?
Well, in 2025, it means that you can definitely reach out to an organization. You can talk over the internet. You have the video quality that is in there and stuff. So not only is it that you broadcast radio, which is still a medium. I mean, the FM radio and AM radio is still a medium. But when we say radio, we really are saying media.
Yes, sir.
Because it goes out a lot of different ways. And as I said, people can pick it up everywhere. So now you have the capability of broadcasting video, broadcasting the voice, and to receive information back. If you like this and you're on our YouTube page, you can type in questions and get immediate. Just you don't have to call in. You can type in. But if you want to call in, you can call in to the station. So it's all interactive. If we have a guest on, you can type in a message over YouTube. It shows up on our screen. there's a lot of different ways that you can interact as you're doing things, and you can even buy things online.
Yes, sir.
Between a show, something's on, they show it, do
Yeah.
the QR code and order it, and those are some things that we'll be breaking into also. So if you want to get
Outstanding.
a KUAW T-shirt or something, you'll be able to click on the link on the web page while we're showing it and order your T-shirt.
Yes, sir.
And those are the things that are coming up that'll be, just beneficial, and using this medium that we all should be more aware of, and we should be more more literate
Yes.
in using the
Yes.
technology for getting out information. As you want to talk about elections, as you want to talk about a lot of different things, this would be the way that you could get that type of communications out.
And it's funny because sometimes you will ask for a guest to come on and appear on, quote, a radio program. Now, you heard me say, I want you to come on my radio show. Radio. And the person will say, how should I dress? Now, that is
Yeah.
that is so different from the way it used to be. But nowadays, you don't know.
No, and we've had people that come in here and stuff, and they'll say, and somebody said radio, and they say, "Oh, I didn't know we were going to be seen. Can people
Exactly.
see us?" Yes, they
Exactly.
can see you
If
here
I-
too. So it's like,
I would have dressed this way if I had known.
right. So
But
you
now-
walk in the studio now, and it all can happen, and that's at a lot of places too that do that. Some of your big old radio stations are also having a simulcast or a podcast that comes from them at the same time
Yes.
or right soon afterwards. So you have to know that this media is totally, constantly evolving, and it's been changing and growing and becoming more sophisticated
Yes.
day by day. Nobody would have thought you'd be able to broadcast in HD quality from your home.
Thank you. And to imagine that it is now common.
Yes, you think nothing of it. I mean, people whip out their cell phones and you're broadcasting. It's going out to the world right then.
Yes, sir.
Everybody has it, so it has been democratized that to a point. Now, the choke point is that you only have so many platforms that you can send things out on.
Okay.
That is something that we'll have to constantly work on, because right now you can be choked off if you can't get on YouTube, or if you can't get on Facebook, then all of a sudden you're not heard. So if they have a point of view that they say, we ain't going to let this out, it doesn't go out.
Now, you know what, as a matter of fact, you are doing right now that we must consider in a real way to use this as a vehicle for teaching. But let me pause right now, because I am honored to look across this table to say Assalamu alaikum. It is so good to see you. No, please have a seat. I just, Sister DeQuay Wilson, Majida Bahayadin is in the house.
Absolutely.
And you must not, please don't you dare apologize. I so confused the directions that you could very well have been in Lenexa because we talked about more than one thing. And for you to have the patience and the tolerance to me and to actually be here this afternoon, I cannot thank you enough. Good afternoon, sir. It is good. Just thank you. Now, please get close to that microphone because, and by the way, if you will allow it, and DeQuay, I'll say this while we are indeed on air, please allow this to be part one, because I know I'm going to want to talk to you longer than the time that we have. And again, apologizing to you.
Oh, yes. No problem at all. No problem at all.
Well, let me tell you something that has been so important to me for a while. I arrived in Kansas City, Missouri in 1980 from Chicago, Illinois. And went back home in 1984, came back in 1985. So I have pretty much been active in the Kansas City community since the mid-1980s. There was a point at which I met Asim Bahayadin, and later, of course, Murad Bahayadin. And when I think about something called activism, I think about the men whom you have led. And I want to thank you so much for being a part of our lives in a way that we cannot properly articulate, and would simply like to ask Majida Bahayadin, in your own words, in your own way, to speak to being engaged in the community as family and with the family that grew on you. And please get close to that microphone.
First of all, my apologies to your audience with the delay and everything, but
That
we're
was
here
my
now.
fault, I promise you.
But I want to share with you, I began to go through some things.
Yes.
And I want to know if you remember this event
Okay.
that
Now.
you were involved in.
December 29th, 1989.
Yeah.
My goodness,
Yes.
Women of Humanity.
Humanity. Yes.
This
That
is-
was an audience. This is an event that organization that I was
Yes.
associated with some other women that Carl participated in, and I just said, "Where is everything?" And I ran up on that, and I wanted to show you that, Carl.
This is so wonderful, and it was indeed such an honor. And not only appreciating being a part of the event, that was the occasion,
Yeah.
but the activities surrounding it were so very important. And by the way, that's interesting. This program salutes veterans. And one of the things that DeQuay and I were talking about as this program began was heroes you didn't know were heroes. We're talking about students and veterans who are heroes. But one of the things that we don't do often enough, and brother, I know that you will agree with me, is heroes you didn't know were heroes who are female. And so often not given the credit that you deserve for the role that you have played. And I wanted to mention Murad Bahayadin in this context, and that is MOVE, MOVE, Men of Vision and Empowerment. And because of your son's leadership, there was founded behind that Love, Ladies of Vision and Empowerment. And it occurred to me that that is MOVE, M-O-V-E, and love. And I think of PROVE, prove. Parents respected because of your validating the example. When we say children learn more by example than they do by instruction, your example has been so acute that Murad Bahayadin didn't have a chance. He had to be the wonderful gentleman he is now.
Right. Well, let me say that just on your question in the beginning of how it began in Kansas City. Originally, I was born in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time I was, before I moved here, I was married to Asim Bahayadin there. And there was some project there was a project going on here that brought him to Kansas City. And we wound up relocating here as residents in about 1974, 75,
Okay.
something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
And matter of fact, I was working for the state of Missouri in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I had children and everything. Had 4 at the time. And Awesome would come back and forth from Kansas City because he like came for the project first, but then
Yes.
things grew, and he wound up wanting to move here. Not Kansas City was not unfamiliar to me because I had visited Kansas City before, liked it very much.
Wow.
And I had gotten a job. I don't think I was on the job more than 6 months, working for the state
In St. Louis.
In St. Louis. And when we made the decision to relocate, I was fortunate enough and had made an impression enough with the job that I was at that they allowed me to transfer to Kansas City. They had never done that
That's
before.
outstanding.
And so I came, I was carrying my 5th child, and the 5th child was born in Kansas City.
All right.
But I got to hold on to my job here. Once I got here, and we kind of got semi-settled because it was all kind of, you know how moving is. I heard that Al Brooks needed someone to work with him.
Yes.
He was assistant city manager
Yes.
at that time. I had heard Mr. Brooks speak one time, and I was impressed with him.
All right.
But I was fine these people had allowed me to transfer something they hadn't done before to
That's so good.
in the jobs. I didn't have to quit to look for a job. And so they said, Al Brooks needs a secretary. Al Brooks needs somebody to help him do some whatever. And I went to interview with him.
Oh.
And he was assistant city manager at that
Yes.
time, like I said. And I just wanted to do it. I was impressed with him. I will say
Yes.
that because I didn't know him. I only heard him speak one time. So and I was impressed. I said,
Yes,
he's a
ma'am.
really
Outstanding.
thoughtful man. And I wound up going to work with him. And when I got hired, I went to interview, and I went back to tell, after thinking, how am I going to do this,
Yes.
to give my current employer notice
Yeah.
that I was going to be leaving.
My goodness.
And I left. Something that was on Al Brooks' mind, in many people's mind,
Yes.
was the ad hoc group, what became the ad hoc group. We didn't have a
Absolutely.
name then, but I had experience.
Wow.
I really had gone to through high school, taking courses on how to be an executive secretary.
Yes.
Al Brooks was an executive.
Made all the
So-
sense in the world.
So I got hired, and we hit the ground running, and ad hoc.
Do you know? Now, look at this. 1989. I was allowed to do this in 1989 because I knew this woman of humanity before 1989. What year is this? This is
Gentleman of distinction.
This is 2025. This was 1989 and before. This afternoon, April 19th at 1:46 p.m. 2025. First day I found out that Majida Bahayadin preceded her husband in working with Alvin Brooks. It is 2025. I didn't, you were, see, heroes you know, you didn't know heroes. And she was responsible for something, and that had to be tough for you because your prior employer trusted you enough to do something they had never done before. So that couldn't have been an easy decision.
It wasn't.
That
It
is
wasn't. They had.
outstanding.
I was on a track to do well with them, but
No
it
doubt.
kind of like after interviewing with him, and kind of like we were on a similar page of how we felt about the
Yes.
community and
Yes.
so forth, and he made it possible where if you come here, then some things can happen.
Let me tell you, this is so good. In 1984, I was living in Kansas City, Missouri, after having moved from Chicago in 1980. In 1984 in Chicago, and you may have read or heard about this, in 1984, a young basketball player whose name was Benji Wilson was killed on the south side of Chicago. 1984. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. A number of us called each other and went back home. I was actually moving back home because we had worked with young, quote, gangbangers, unquote, but we didn't call them that when we interacted with each other, to form 1,000 black men in Chicago, Illinois. At any rate, in as much as this young lady whose first name was Wanda and I were on the phone every day, I kind of maybe wasn't going to stay in Chicago forever after all. So April 23rd, 1980, I'm sorry, February 23rd, 1985, Reverend Mac Charles Jones had the meeting at Zion Grove Missionary Baptist Church, and they formulated Black Community Coalition, or BCC. But on Benton Avenue, there was a gentleman who carried a speaker, and his name just happened to be Asim Bahayadin. And he and Keith Brown were leading anti-drug marches. And for my introduction, Asim Bahayadin was first. This was a hero. You didn't know were heroes because you didn't hear his name a lot. But Alvin Brooks so trusted him that often those leadership positions he would just turn over, and it was just, the interesting thing about it was how soft-spoken Brother Bahayadin was in not only what he did that you could see with the speaker, but also behind the scenes, he just had a strategic personality. But we often talk about the role that a spouse plays, a woman plays, but I don't think that we do it with enough sincerity to appreciate what you must have been able to influence during those times. Were you from a kind of a civil rights background in St. Louis, Missouri? Was this peculiar to you, or were there others who preceded you that caused you to go in that direction?
Well, Carl, I think probably my family, my mother's family,
Yes.
were very active in activities of upliftment for black people. My father was a very hard worker. Wasn't so much, he was like about taking care of family,
Yes.
making money, worked, but he labored hard, and he was successful. He was kind of like the patriarch of the family.
Yes, ma'am.
However, my mother passed when I was just 5.5,
Oh.
and I remember her so vividly, even though it was
That's interesting.
so early
Yeah.
in my life, but we do have a kind of like a family that I was raised up in was
Yes.
the work ethic and consciousness to take care of your own, to take care of your family. I was born, well, never mind when I was born, but there was a time when there was not a lot of true knowledge about us as African Americans,
Wow.
what we began to call ourselves as African
Yes.
Americans. So I came up under some of the old concepts of what was presented to us that we were relegated as kind of valueless
My
as
God.
a culture.
Wow.
That's what I came up under. Although what I had before me
Yes.
was
Yes.
good, hard-working people, a loving mother,
You know, I pray that young people are listening. Please go ahead.
a loving mother that her consciousness, her love, the love that if someone passes at 5.5, I mean
When you were just
when I was
5.
just 5.5, and I can still feel
Yes.
the love,
That's outstanding.
that the connection that we had.
Wow.
Then that's what a consciousness. I grew up with a consciousness.
Now, were you familiar with Bernie Hayes, a disc jockey in St. Louis? And
What is he?
I don't know whether he was active. Just happened to be somebody I knew from Chicago. He went to St. Louis.
No, I didn't. I don't think we listened. Yeah, we did have to
No.
listen to the radio.
Here's something that wait a minute. Are we that close? Come on.
Time
This is-
flies when you're having fun. I have to say this really quick. I feel so
Please.
honored to be sitting in this room right now. I think about the conversations that I've had with Carl off air. I think about the conversations that I've had with Mrs. Bahayadeen. I think about the conversations that I've had with Mr. Bahayadeen. I think about the conversations that I've had with Alvin Brooks. I think about the conversations that I've had with oh my goodness, he would kill me if I can't get his name out. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness,
You will.
oh my goodness,
You will.
oh
It's
my
over.
goodness. And I just saw him on
Not
PBS
Calvin.
the other day. Calvin Neal.
Calvin,
I
yes,
love
yes,
Calvin
yes,
Neal. And
yes.
I'm so
Calvin.
offended at myself that I.
That's a
didn't say
story
his name
in and
instead.
of itself.
I know, but to sit and to have the opportunity or the privilege to sit and listen to the history that you guys have provided me in whether it's the long term or whether it's the short term time span that I've had to spend with you. I am so thankful just to be sitting in this room with the two of you, and I don't know how else to say it, and I mean it greater than the words that are coming out of my mouth, but I feel so, I have goosebumps right now. I just feel so honored and so privileged to be sitting in this room with the two of you. That's all I want to say. So you guys go ahead and continue on with your conversation. This is one of the reasons why I sit here quietly, because I think I can learn so much. I have 2 ears. I have 1 mouth. If I use my ears twice as much as I use my mouth, I might just walk away learning something. And I've done that every time I've sat and I talked to or listened to Mrs. Bahayadeen. I've done that every time I sat and listened to Carl Boyd. I'm just thankful to be in this room today.
Well, let me say something that Louis George Walker can attest to. So I'm not saying this for the first time. You've heard me say that when I open the microphones, I will often say, now, DeQuay, when you have something to say, please go right ahead and do that. It is good to be in this position because I can look and see, as she just did. But Louis George Walker can attest to the fact that we have said more than once that when the program is over, DeQuay Wilson will say something with such profundity that it would have been the subject matter of the show had she said it before the program was over. So she's been very nice to us, but you and I would have to agree that she is why we are who we are, because of a serious young person like this giving us that kind of respect honors us.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I am so grateful for DeQuay and her involvement in my life. also. When we met, and we met through my son Murad, and I was about to go into have some surgery done,
Oh.
and she kind of helped. Really turned out she was helping my husband out with stuff that needed to be done because I was kind of incapacitated for a while. And as far as Awesome took soul to DeQuay like another child,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
real. And my husband was the kind of person where he could embrace anybody.
Yes.
He
Yes.
could be. I've heard you say that he has a gentle side. Yes, he did have a gentle. He
Yes.
had a gentle side, but he could also cut through stuff.
Say it again,
He
DeQuay.
meant business.
He
He
meant
ma-
business.
yes, he did
Clearly.
it. He had. He had no fear.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I asked him one time, how you be so cut? Like
Yes.
say something so sharp to somebody. He said, they be all right. And that's where it would happen.
He believed in what he said. He
Yeah.
believed in what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see, one of the things that is important to us working with someone like Alvin Brooks, rather than resent, Alvin appreciated Asim Bahayadeen's candor. He appreciated his being cut and dry because he needed that honesty. And when they would have whatever discussion it might be, cause them to grow closer.
It did. It was like a nucleus. And then
Yes, ma'am.
again, just to mention our brother Calvin Neal shows up in Kansas City.
And he's from St. Louis.
And he's from St. Louis. That's another story. That's another story.
Yeah.
But and then that nucleus broadened
Yes.
to the benefit, I think, greatly of the community. At the time, it kind of shifted later on.
Yes.
Kind of like when spotlight got put on it, the folks.
Yes.
However, that nucleus survived, and
Yes.
I up until Asim's passing, you all used to meet and everything,
Yes,
which
absolutely.
just that commitment.
Without a doubt.
Yes,
Without a
yes.
doubt.
Strong, very strong masculinity at the head, and gentleness as well.
Yes. No
Gentleness
doubt about it.
as well. So,
No.
and I like Awesome took to the he like I think in some ways because I would be when she would come, he taught her stuff that she didn't really know at the time. Like it was,
That's so good.
and he like. As far as what she was mentor, show her how to do some stuff, you know.
And you and I can agree it will never be brought out to the degree that it should. How strong DeQuay Wilson is
Yes,
as a person,
yes,
and how she has been able to help us, having gone through things that she.
you got one. You got one.
And
Yeah.
that caused me. We're at the end of the hour, but it caused me to remember a question that I have for you, and I can ask the same question of DeQuay. Have you written, or are you writing a book, memoirs, or however you would characterize? I know I'm not the first person to ask.
I have. That's something people ask me.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I haven't done as well as I should.
Okay.
Let me say that. However, there's a lot.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So it's an endeavor that hasn't received the priority that it should,
Right.
but it is on my mind to do.
And what I say when I do ask if you would, and ask someone if they would, it is because of whom it will benefit outside of just yourself. It would be so very helpful because, DeQuay, you can attest to something like this. How many young people would be able to write that story? This is something that is very unique, very important.
There's not one person that can write Mrs. Bahayadine's story. There's not one person that can write DeQuay's story other than Mrs. Bahayadine, other than DeQuay Wilson. I have attempted several times. I've never completed. Never gotten very far. Again, but I'm no Carl Boyd. You've written several books.
but I will talk to you about that. I honestly will, because that is something that is extremely important. And by the way, wow, here we are at 2:00. One of the things when we come back together that I want to discuss and get an opportunity to discuss, but not at the length I would desire with you, and that is 2025. That is today's world. That is a society that is trying to take away from our young people our history, things that have been accomplished. And it is absolutely imperative, not only because it is being taken away from them from an historical perspective, but also from a survival perspective, because we were talking about how far something like KUAW.org reaches. We're on the world stage now. This is some serious stuff that our young people must benefit from in order to be able to take that next step. And oh my God, having just this opportunity today to introduce a few things I would like to discuss the next time we are together, I feel blessed in this moment. And DeQuay referred to her as the peach of the show. P, she's the producer. E, engineer. A, announcer. CH, co-host. She does it all.
All that.
And we're at that point. But before we go, is there something in particular that you want to make sure you don't leave without saying? And what I want to say in particular is, will you come back again?
I'd be delighted to do it. I'd be delighted. As a matter of fact, what I will say is I have I texted you, like I didn't have an idea really what was going to be happening today, but you. But I have some materials I brought with me that I'm going to leave with you to go through. So like this one that you were the first Women of Humanity event that you and the Gentleman of Distinction kind of you were a member of the Gentleman of Distinction at the time, and it was a nice event. Yes, and I still have the flyer and the program. One of them that.
And by the way, your husband was in the room when Alvin Brooks asked for us to be able to characterize who we were and what we were trying to do, and his nephew or son came up with Black Men Together.
Yeah.
And that was the group Black Men Together and Gentlemen of Distinction. So I'm looking forward to it.
So yes, I we can talk about that, and I'll know where you are now. Because I at one point you said the name of the other place. I think it just stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I just yeah. And this is my son Yaya, who he is our official. From our family, my escort of the children. I have, well, I'm very grateful. I'm a very grateful person.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, DeQuay. I love, and I cannot express how close she and we were with DeQuay. And I think a little stuff that would, like how to fix stuff and everything. I think Awesome was a contractor, and he could show her how to do different things. Because she didn't have a clue. And
this is good.
yeah.
Well, I will.
It's good to see you guys.
Oh, this is wonderful. I'm going to turn it over to DeQuay Wilson. To end the program, and DeQuay and Brother George Walker, thank you for giving us a little more time, but we got a whole program we're looking forward to. Please go ahead.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our guests, our listeners, and our viewers for joining us on your Stoots for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, KUAW Wilson. Now, our host will still close with either Carl's commentary on academic patriotism or his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
In respect for time, I will simply do morning messages from the book, and this is as we pay respect to veterans. To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, April 19th. It is well that you remember our fallen with reverence. It is better that you honor them with your excellence. My name is Carl Boyd. Majida Bahayadin, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you so much, DeQuay Wilson, Louis George Walker. This is Carl Boyd saying, gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.